Alright, so here's my Treeman so far. So the base coat that I gave it is going to be a burnt umber. I actually started to do some of the gray shading and realized, wait a second, I should stop and do a kind of a how-to. So the first step was to base coat the entire thing in in my case, a very dark brown. So I chose burnt umber. It's a really nice, rich, deep dark brown. So this is not put together. It's purposely, I left it apart so it's easier to fix. I bought this already assembled, but I did pop the torso off the waist, and the weapons were magnetized, so those are apart. But so let's take a look at the first step once you got it base coated. I wanted to do some work to make the scroll work, the carvings, stand out, appear as if it was glowing from some inner energy, like the soul or something. Now this model is going to stand in for two things. It's going to be my avatar for my Elder Codex, and this will stand in actually in my Kings of War army as a Treeman. So it fits in really, really well in both of those. So I wanted to start with, since there's a lot of Melta rules and flame related rules in the avatar, I wanted to put the base, the glowing effect, more of a fiery effect. So I started with taking an orange, kind of like a pumpkin shade of orange. You don't want it too bright. Now I say I use Americana, in this particular case, persimmon. Again, any pumpkinish color. So I'm going to show you kind of what I did first, and we'll go through this very, very quickly, because it's actually easier to do these glowing effects than you think. And you want to do it after the base coat, but before you do the dry brushing. Okay? Whoops, I can see I missed a couple spots with deep base coating, so I'll do that too. Alright, so let's take a look. I left some scroll work here on the leg for you to take a look, and we'll go ahead and do that here. So I use, in this case, I'm using a Army Painter, the Psycho, really, really fine tipped brush. You don't have to. If you have a nice fine tipped brush, whether it's bulky or not, as long as the tip is nice and sharp, you'll be able to do it. And I just paint inside those. You have to be a little careful. You want to put as much paint in the line as possible. Try not to get any on top. But if you do, it's just a simple matter of taking a napkin or something and just brushing it, wiping it off, the excess. But do it right away. So don't paint all the orange and then go back and do it. Paint small segments, and if you notice you've got some orange outside the line, so to speak, like it just went there, immediately grab it and wipe it off, and that cleans it up really well. Okay, hope you can see that. This is the first color. Heat type effects are, go from a range of reds to yellows. Actually hotter than that, but anyway, most of the time you just stick with the oranges and yellows. So the base coat's going to be a darker orange, and then you're going to highlight it with what would be the hotter parts, being the yellow. So there we go. Now I'll go through here, get that off real quick. Okay, and now that's looking pretty good. I think I got all of it there. There's a little bit more I can probably put right here. Yeah, that's nicer. Okay. Alright. And so there we go. Alright. The orange is in. Okay. I'm going to quickly check the rest of the model, make sure I've got it. Now, in some cases you're going to want it heavier than others. I've decided that down at the bottom of the half of the model, it's a little brighter than in the middle, because I didn't want what's on the thighs to detract from what's on the chest and hands. So, all right, so there's actually one more spot back here. don't know if it's easy to see or not right in there, so I'll quickly do that. Hope you can see I'm getting a little bit messy there. Again, we're going to try to get just in the channel and immediately go over it with a napkin or something to brush it or wipe as much of that off as possible. Okay. Now, if it dries in place and you can't do it, wipe it off, then you'll have to go back over with the base coat and then touch it up. I had to do that with the eyes. I accidentally got too much on the side of the, or under, I guess, a cheekbone, for lack of a better word, for a Treeman. And I couldn't wipe it off. It was in a bad spot. I couldn't get my finger in there. And I'm going to have to do that here too. So I'll just simply get the burnt umber out very quickly and we'll touch it up. The paint, if you put it on thin, it doesn't take long to dry. You can go over it pretty quickly with a different color to fix the problem. So I'll do that real quick here. And then I'll just clean it up. Okay. Alright, now we move on from this to a yellow. You want it to be a little bright. The brighter the better. I wouldn't go with the primary yellow. I think it needs to be a little brighter than primary. Yellow just seems to be a little too dark. So there's a few good bright yellows out there for several of the paint lines. I'm unfortunately using acrylic that I don't prefer anymore, Anita's. But so the next step is real simple. What you do is you decide, and these are living, or sorry, animated. These aren't mechanical, so you're not looking for a machinery type glow. You're looking for a magical glow. And so this doesn't, you don't have to figure out where the light source or heat source is coming from. You want to accent it in the way that looks best to you. So you just simply pick up some of the yellow and just go at it, just this very center, just a few areas. Don't cover all of the orange, just pick out a small part of the channel. Kind of make a middle section, like I'm going right through here. So all this will stay orange, and this is yellow, this will be orange. I'm going to extend the yellow a bit further here to make it just stand out a little bit more. Okay. And then that will be, if it's too thin, it's too watered down, yellow doesn't cover real well, so you might have to go over it a second time to make sure it pops. There we go. Okay, so that's all you do. It's just two colors. Doesn't take that long, and that's how I went about and did all of these effects here. On the chest, head, face. Put a little bit of yellow on the front of the eyes. I don't prefer the glaring obvious. I really like to make sure that the effects are subtle but not too subtle. They get hidden from view when the in normal lighting, or in once your varnish is on there. I made that mistake once with the Exit at Night. So that's what it takes to do just the glowing segments. Okay. All right. Next video, I'll go over and actually show you how we'll do the rest, the next step of the bark and texture and getting the grays on there. You'll notice there are actually, in several areas on here, there's actually mushrooms growing from the side of the side here. So little fungus growths. So I figured that really helped me understand that this can be an actual tree. Alright, so in the next video, you'll go ahead and we'll go do the dry brushing. Alright, thanks. See you in the next video. Bye.